U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright has said, and I quote, "We are going to get crude oil moving again and sell it just like we did in our businesses. We will sell the production that comes out of Venezuela into the marketplace." So the Trump administration is not mincing its words when it comes to its economic intentions in the wake of bombing Venezuela and abducting its leader. Its eyes are firmly fixed on Venezuela's oil resources. In fact, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also had this to say.
Saw the president announce last night, this was a deal. This was a deal made by the president and his team with the Venezuelan interim authorities. This will benefit both the American people and the Venezuelan people. And Secretary Wright and the Department of Energy are working with the interim authorities and also with the private oil industry to execute on this historic energy deal. That's not only good for the United States, but it's also going to revive the prosperity, the safety, the security of both the United States and Venezuela as well.
And Siddhant continues to be with us on the broadcast. So Siddhant, clearly the spin coming in from the Trump administration is that even before we bombed Venezuela, even before we abducted Maduro, we had a deal with an interim authority inside Venezuela to take all of the oil resources. Is this kind of explanation going to fly?
Well, Ayushman, what is good about President Trump and his administration is that the previous presidents used to do the same thing, but they used to do it in silos. They never used to, brag about how the oil will be traded in dollars, or the American companies will be investing in the oil industry, etc., etc. But you have to give it to President Trump and his administration's honesty, Ayushman, that they are what they are on the face. That day also he announced that American companies are going to invest in Venezuela. We are going to build the infrastructure. We are going to sell the oil. And today also, the same has been reiterated by Carolina Leavitt, the White House spokesperson. So definitely, in fact, there are multiple reports also saying that there was some kind of a back channel between the interim authorities and the United States. In fact, just a short while back, we had this bite of Secretary of State Marco Rubio, where he said that we have maximum leverage over the Venezuelan interim authorities. So the message is very clear that you have to work with us. There is no other option. And even if you are willingly coming with us, or you don't want to come with us, you have to come with us. So that's the clear message which United States government is sending for the interim authorities in Venezuela again and again with these kinds of statements. And in fact, today we also got to know that the two of the vessels have also been seized by the U.S. Coast Guard in the Atlantic.
Right, and talking about that, let's get to the visuals of that story. Siddhant, please stay with us. The United States has seized a Russian-flagged oil tanker linked to Venezuela in the North Atlantic. Russia is fuming over this U.S. operation. The U.S. has seized an oil tanker in the North Atlantic, which was flagged, which had the Russian flag, and the United States has said that this was linked to Venezuela. Now, Russia is fuming over this entire operation. You can see the visuals that the Trump administration has put out of this operation, where they seized this oil tanker with Russian flags, and Russia has called it a violation of maritime law. This comes as the Trump administration continues to flex its military muscles in the North Atlantic and the wider Caribbean area. Siddhant, we're getting those visuals for our viewers about the U.S. operation that the Trump administration has put out. But Russia has hit back at the Trump administration, saying this is a gross violation of maritime law. Clearly, even in this case, the NATO allies will not see this as a great move.
Well, that's right, Ayushman. So I look at it with two aspects. One, that the other day, President Trump, Secretary Rubio said this very clearly, that we cannot let the adversaries operate from the Western Hemisphere. That was the message, perhaps the narrative which was built by them to capture Maduro. And in fact, today, these two vessels, Russia-flagged vessels, Dark Fleet, whatever you like to call them, were carrying oil in the Atlantic, and they were intercepted. And in fact, United Kingdom assisted U.S. forces to intercept these two vessels. One vessel's name is Bella 1, and the other vessels, there is this other vessel also. The two of these vessels have been seized. They are Russia flagged vessels, and now they are being taken to the United States. In fact, the people on the vessels, the crew, will be prosecuted under the U.S. law. So there are two messages. One, that after Maduro's exit, now U.S. and the NATO forces will be operating freely in the Atlantic and whole of the Western Hemisphere. Perhaps they will not let China, Russia, or Iran to operate in this particular hemisphere. So this is a political message which they are sending out to their people. And the second, very important, Ayushman, that boss, there is going to be no in and out of oil without our permission. The message for the interim authorities in Venezuela.
Right. So that is a message not just to the interim authorities in Venezuela, but to the entire globe, given the fact that the U.S. forces have, as you can see in these visuals, they have taken control of a Russian-flagged oil tanker, and Russia has said that this is a gross violation of maritime law. United States anyway under fire when it comes to the deposition of Maduro in Venezuela, as well as the bombing of Venezuela to oust Maduro. But this action coming in from the US forces also facing a lot of criticism from key allies for the Trump administration, pretty much by the tone and tenor of what US President Donald Trump has said on social media. The Trump administration just doesn't care.